Opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not WSTU. WSTU does not endorse any products mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU.
The Treasure Coast longest-running local talk radio show is on the air. The Treasure Coast Forum. Get interested, get educated, get involved, and give us a call with your opinions at 220-9788. And here's your host of the Treasure Coast Forum.
Over hill, over dale, we will hit the dusty trail, and those big songs go rolling along.
All right. In tribute for today, we're going to play some patriotic songs, as well as all the other things we've got planned for your entertainment, right?
Yes, sir.
We plan to be entertaining and informative as well.
And to just simply give, tribute to those who spend their lives, their time, and dedicate all that they can to our country and keeping us safe. And they need more recognition.
Right.
Then.
So I sent the file to you if you want to read that copy.
Me?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, let me pull it up really quickly. I hope everybody's having a good Thursday. Very interesting week. Colleges have come out. I got accepted to my first college.
All right.
So
congratulations.
There's that, but there's lots of more decisions to come out throughout Thanksgiving and December. So just praying that everything goes well. So now on this email for Veterans Day. In the early morning hours of November 11th, 1918, representatives of France, Britain, and Germany met in a railroad car near Champagne, I think, France.
Champagne,
okay.
Yeah.
To sign an Armistice.
That's correct.
Oh, wow. Okay, nice. Ending World War I, or the Great War, as they say it. And it was known at that time. And the ceasefire took effect at 11 o'clock a.m. that day, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Wow, that's an angel number there, too. Up and down the trenches after 4 long years of the most horrific fighting the world has yet known, the guns fell silent. The roar stopped like a motor car hitting a wall. One U.S. soldier wrote to his family. Soldiers on both sides slowly climbed out of the earthworks. Some danced, some cheered, some cried for joy, some stood numbered. The Great War had left some 9 million soldiers dead and another 21 million wounded. No one knows how many millions of civilians died. Much of Europe lay in ruins, but finally, in the Armistice, it was all quiet on the Western Front. For many years, November 11th was known as Armistice Day to honor those who fought in World War I. In 1954, Congress changed the name to Veterans Day to recognize all American veterans. So every November 11th at 11 o'clock a.m., the nation pays tribute to its war dead with the laying of a presidential wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier in the Arlington National Cemetery outside of Washington, D.C. But Veterans Day honors more than the dead. Memorial Day, observed in May, is for remembering soldiers who lost their lives in service of the country. Veterans Day is set aside to honor and thank all who have served in the U.S. Armed Forces, particularly our 23 million living veterans. So, really nice. So
very good. Yes. And also on this day in history, let's see now, Washington becomes the 42nd state, the state of Washington.
Nice.
And 1918, of course, we know the World War I ended. And 1921 on this date, President Warren G. Harding attends the burial ceremony at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier at Arlington National Cemetery for a unidentified soldier killed in World War I, which started that tradition.
Nice. All right, well, then that's just our little tribute. But I shall hand things over to John. What you got for us today?
You
want to start with the science, John?
Oh, yeah, sure.
All
so first off, we had this space.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
All right, and now John with the science report.
Okay, so last night about 9:03, we had had SpaceX's 5th crewed launch. It had 4 people, and they launched up to the ISS, and it was a 22-hour-long flight in space to the ISS, and they went up there to do kind of modifications and repairs to the ISS.
And they will be there for about 6 months, I think.
6
Oh
months.
my- oh my
gosh.
goodness.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's a long.
Yeah.
Wait, that's half of the year in space.
Yeah.
So, wait, when they come back down to Earth, though, they're gonna have to.
Rehabilitate.
Okay, I was
So
just.
they spend 2 hours of every day on the space station just doing exercise, just doing PT.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, they run on a treadmill, a special treadmill, and which is pretty amazing. And that's just, and they still lose muscle and bone mass while they're up there, even with all that
How?
gravity.
weightlessness. Our bodies need gravity to function at our optimum.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I
So,
had a
kinda
teacher
like
once.
Pressure. If you release pressure, your body will just dissipate almost.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so
It's
you're
like blobfish. If you go into high, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking
No.
about? Kind of like that.
Oh,
Like they go into higher depths,
no.
it waits, and then they just.
Oh my. No.
Does that make sense?
It does. That's
Okay,
awful
okay.
to think
No, no,
about.
No, no.
Look, this is very terrible because let me tell you, my sixth grade teacher,
yeah.
she was our science teacher, and she
Hmm.
did not believe in gravity. So, so now that you say that, I'm just like, if we were to send people like that to space,
Right.
what would, because like we are thinking of like colonizing Mars and having like like societies
Right.
outside outside of Earth and whatnot.
Hmm.
And I'm just thinking like, okay, so we're gonna have to get used to some sort of gravity, right?
Hmm.
And so, just terrifying, very very scary. Thank you for putting that visual in my head.
So,
So-
in science,
Not okay.
right? Since Newton,
Mm-hmm.
right, and
Mhm.
the whole story about the apple that Sir Isaac Newton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not the guy who invented the cookie, by the way. So
yeah.
So anyways, but so people all the time they thought gravity had something to do anyways. The bottom line story here is nobody really knows what gravity is.
Mm.
That so probably that's what your science teacher or your 6th grade teacher was trying to say, but maybe said poorly. But
Maybe.
nobody really understands what gravity is.
Right.
So
okay.
that's all with all the things that we know and all the things we can do,
Mm-hmm.
we really don't understand gravity.
Oh man. Okay.
Right.
Well, that's. Thank you for that visual. It's gonna
Yeah.
haunt me
Okay,
forever.
you're just okay. Okay.
Human blobfish. Oh
Yeah.
my
Oh my
goodness.
God. Not like that, but
But-
there's the reverse, and then there's the other reverse, which is where you get squashed. But
We
yeah.
don't want to go there.
yeah. Okay. So just imagine, kind of like that.
Yep,
Just
yep.
right pressure.
Yep. I got you. No problem.
Okay. Other than that, something I found out that was pretty interesting. There is a collaboration between Microsoft and the government of Greece where they're going to do kind of like, you guys know, AI and all that. So they're going to use AI to kind of do a virtual reality tour-ish, like recreate everything based on AI of the Olympic Museum, kind of like where they actually held the first Olympic Games. And then they're going to do that so you can have your own tours, which is your VR headsets and such, in person and also at home.
Okay. So
Are they going to do the Olympics in virtual reality? Is
You
what you're
can
saying?
see it and get like a tour and such.
Oh, I
So-
see. But what about the Olympians? They have to do it real time.
that's
What?
dope.
No, not like that. Just like a tour of the place.
Oh, just
Yeah,
a tour.
yeah.
Like they'll use it to recreate what it actually looked like.
Mhm,
right.
mhm.
Okay. Now the
So-
Olympics are supposed to be in China next year, right?
Believe so, actually. Yeah.
Interesting.
be
Maybe
interesting.
I've never seen
maybe
the Olympics.
maybe we should lobby to have it all VR.
No,
God.
that
Yeah.
ruins the experience.
Well, with COVID, that might be the best way. Right?
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
true. That
I
is
don't think
true.
everybody has a headset though.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing. Okay, so I hate to always bring up Meta. I really do.
Meta.
Like,
Oh,
yeah,
here
I
we
hate
go.
to. I hate
Here
to,
we
but
go.
I've been seeing ads now, like popping
Yes.
up on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so, like, one of them was like, your friend's going to a concert and you can't be with her, join Meta. And then like it's like this girl and
I
then
have
she
no clue what
pops
this
up.
is.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it was like an ad I saw while I was watching,
Okay.
and then she just pops up in the middle of this concert,
Right.
and she's like with her best friend. She's like dancing and stuff. So it's like she's at the concert. I don't know, but what you just said kind of just reminded me of that, and I was just like, I'm surprised they didn't collaborate with Meta as well. If they're trying to do like these tours and whatnot and be in places that aren't
I
physical.
mean, Microsoft
So-
is doing like other games like Minecraft and such, but you know,
Oh, okay, all right. Look, man, I don't know. I was
I
just
don't know what
thinking
you're
about
talking about, but
So what took place? Wait a minute. We got to do this. What
Mhm.
took place last night, John, at 9:03?
it launched.
it.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. And liftoff. God.
All right.
This is just haunting Mr.
Right.
Frank.
So so the thing is, normally with the normal NASA rockets, the Atlas V and those sort of rockets, when you hear 0, 1, 1, 0 and liftoff, right?
Mhm.
You can wait about 30 seconds or more before you can go outside, and then you may catch a glimpse of it, right? This thing, within mere moments after 0, that thing was catapulted. I mean, it just goes like right now.
Wow.
And it was amazing. And I got probably the longest, continuous view of it all, going from, you got to
Mhm.
remember, it's 100 miles from here.
Oh,
Mm.
really?
Right.
Oh,
And
I
so,
didn't even know that.
so it's launching 100 miles from here. When you can see it plainly, see staging, see it leave the atmosphere, that's pretty cool.
Whoa. So I guess you can be one of those witnesses when they say that and this was SpaceX, right?
Right.
When the SpaceX launching was faked.
Right.
Right.
You can't say that enough. Yeah. That was seriously real. Yeah.
Wow. Well, these are promising times, I guess.
Mhm.
All right, John, I'm gonna steal things
go
from
ahead.
you. All right. So this week haven't been sleeping, college and all these things, right? So I did what one should never do. Go onto TikTok, okay?
Oh my
I know, but
What were you thinking?
I was looking up some tips on how to get into like colleges and stuff, and so I stumbled and there's just been this weird thing on TikTok with like these live streams and whatnot, right? So I just this really bottles down to a question of morals. And I mean, I talked to like one of my friends about it and she kind of agreed with me, but I just want to see like where people lie on this or like where you guys lie on
Mhm.
this, because it really, me personally, it does not sit well with me. And I just want some clarification. So there's these live streams, and what the case has been is that there's like these parents, right? And they have children.
Yeah.
You've
okay.
seen them?
Yeah,
Have you
yeah,
seen
yeah,
them?
Yeah.
Okay, so they have children who are either disabled or they have like birth defects, and now
Okay.
these aren't like 5, like 4 to 7, like they're like maybe like 4 years old, 5 months. They just came out, and they're new to this world, and they have like medical issues,
Right.
which I don't really mind. And normally videos of children like this when they're like having a cute moment or they're learning or they're improving or something positive, that's not a bad thing to broadcast, because if anything it shows like there's hope.
Right.
There's things to live for.
Right.
It's very uplifting. But and I also think just in general it's just wrong to post about your children on the internet. I just
Right.
preserve the
Right.
childhood. But I digress. People will do what they do, but these are children, like these tiny little babies are being filmed and live streamed on TikTok with thousands of viewers watching them in hospital beds, and they're like hooked up to all these machines, and they're receiving medication in the middle of like the ER, the hospital, or wherever. And then I'm just like, I don't know. And whenever I see them, I'm just like, I can't help but feel like there's just something wrong, and I can't help but sympathize with a child that's being broadcasted in this way
Right.
that doesn't even have the means to understand what's even happening.
Right.
You know, birth defect, disabled, this or that or not, and they're even normal, and they're like the fact they're being broadcasted like this. I think that's wrong, and I just don't know, because I mean, when I look through the comments, there's nobody like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be live streaming this. Maybe you should actually be focused on your kid.
Right.
You know, things like that. And, you know, people just seem to give into it. And they have like, and it's like thousands of people who just sit there and just watch. And they go on for hours and hours. And they pop up on your little page.
Right.
So it's not even like you're asking for it. It just shows up, especially since it's a live stream.
Right.
So I just want to hear your opinion.
Metadata.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you land on those pages and you stay there for a while, they say, okay, this person's interested in this, you know, this thing. And then, so when those opportunities present themselves, that's why you get those dings.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but I agree with you 100% that, you know, parenting is about the here and now and not about technology.
Okay,
Yeah.
I appreciate that, because
Right.
I was like, oh,
Right.
I don't know,
No.
it just doesn't feel right. What about you, John?
I would agree partially. I do agree parenting is about here and now.
Mm-hmm.
But I could understand the perspective of the parent, maybe if they're doing it for like other reasons. Like, for example, if I was a parent, maybe, I don't know, I'd take a picture with the child, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would both agree with that. Maybe take a picture with the child for like future, like, oh my God, this is when you're like from a baby times, you were so cute back then.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
So kind of like that, maybe they would want to like consciously now
memorialize the moment.
Memorialize the moment, and now they have like a means to express themselves more instead of like having like a tape recorder or something. Just like kind of like that. Like I could see that, but I kind of do disagree. Focus on the kid.
So what I think you're talking about, because this is also like another trend that's on TikTok, and it's about like, oh, like watch my older brother turn into a teenager, or my older sibling, or like watch my daughter turn into a teenager.
I do agree that's
you know,
yeah.
So things like that, it's like home videos, you know, and they're like, and it's after the child is grown or reached an age where they're okay with being on social media themselves, like maybe like 17, 16, like our age, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like and I did consider a different possibility, and in this case, I was thinking like maybe like fundraising. You know, like it's hard. It's, you know, you gotta pay the medical bills, especially with like treating a child who's in a not a healthy state. And I was just like, is there not any better ways to raise money or to pay the bills or receive support? You know, like, and if they are, if the parents' intentions for doing this are to raise money, I can't but wonder, like, what does this say about like our society as a whole? You know, like, why do people feel the need to broadcast their children like this in order to, you know, have financial aid and things like that? I don't think that's the case, but again, it is a possibility, and that's what I was trying to consider, you know. So, but I mean, then you have
what you're saying really is kind of a devolving of the nurturing notion of parenting, right?
And then so when you have things like this, and nobody seems to have any issues with it, I'm gonna introduce a different side of the spectrum. So now there's been a rise of concern on the internet over a grown man who is quite literally eating himself to death, to a point where when he went to the doctor, I think he was diagnosed as like literally disabled because he's so obese. His name is Nikocado Avocado. He's like he's literally like an internet character, and he's very gross. He's very disgusting. Like and I'm not trying to say this to be mean. Like that is his content. He sits, he cries, he literally pooped on himself on camera on YouTube and broadcasted it everywhere. Yeah, he gets into all this drama with his husband, and it's just that is how he makes money. And then you have millions and millions of people like, please help yourself, please get better, which is good, of course. But again, this is like a grown man making the choice to devolve himself and literally kill himself, and you know, like interacting,
passive observer.
Interacting is literally proving that, you know, it's making this way viable for him, because that's how he makes his money on YouTube, on the internet, TikTok, whatever. And I was just like, so you have you don't care about the one who can't make a choice, but is being broadcasted, but you do care about the one that does make a choice and continues to do so. Like, what do you guys think about that?
Interesting juxtaposition, isn't it?
Right?
Mm.
Right? Like, what do you think, John?
Were you watching Moist Critical?
I'm sorry?
Nothing. Okay. No, I saw a video on that, and I was wondering if you saw the same one.
No, I just know that there's been like a lot of YouTubers, like there was
Okay.
even like this,
Okay.
like they made like a horror film about him too. Like it was crazy. So I'm just like, oh, I just don't know. I just wanted to hear
Okay.
some different
I'd say
opinions.
some people would definitely actively support that because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like from that point of view, you're just one person. What can you do? And by that means you're contributing to that, but I don't really think that's the mindset. But then the others just stay away and then they don't attribute to it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just wanted to bring to light a different perspective. And it's scary because when we become more technologized and when we have this meta and we're popping into places that don't actually, or we're doing tours and whatnot.
Well, they even talk about people who fall in the streets or fall on subway tracks, and the people that are standing by, bystanders, that will stand and watch, and maybe somebody will jump into action.
Yeah,
but it's not everybody. Not everybody. Most people are passive observers.
Yeah,
and that's sad.
Oh my
goodness. And I think the internet is kind of an extension of that kind of behavior where people are just passive observers rather than, action oriented.
Yeah. Actually, that reminds me of something that did happen this week. I think it was Monday. I had a friend and she calls me and she's my bestie. So she calls me. It's like 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, about to get to school. And she's like, I just saw our car flipped over by Palm City, and she's like freaking out. She's like, I don't think he's okay. Like there's a person in there. I don't think they're all right. And she's like, should I call the police? Should I call the police? I was like, I don't know if I should. I don't know if somebody else did. And we have a caller, so I'll finish that story really quickly.
All right.
Hello.
Okay. Hello, you're on the air.
It's Pat.
Hey, Pat.
Hi.
You got a couple minutes before we go to break, and then you could stick with us through the break if you'd like.
All right, I'll go real quick anyway. So back in my day, we had Faces of Death, which was a pretty horrific, gruesome, nasty movie that everyone in the world purchased because we just can't get enough of it. Then you can roll it up to modern days with TV, with shows like Cops and Lockdown, where we're voyeuristically sitting there watching other people's misery, right? And then you've got, the modern incarnation, which is the internet and TikTok and all these things. And, you've got live streaming disabled baby for hours, or the guy, eating himself to death. I think it says more about us as humans than pointing out something that doesn't seem to go away. I mean, we can take this back to gladiator days and, reveling off of people killing themselves and getting eaten and mauled by animals, to today's incarnations of it.
That's true. So is there no way to fix this? Like, I don't know. Like I was very distraught. I was just like, how do we?
No, I hear you. I do. I tend to look at it like a long view and a historical view on most of anything before I start thinking about having an opinion or a viewpoint on it, and go, what are we historically doing as a species? What have we evolved out of, and what have we changed? And on this, I don't think we have and we have. I think we haven't and we haven't. I don't think we've evolved at all. It's just taking a different form. It's the same thing in a different incarnation. I think it's something that's in us that makes us do that. I don't know what it is. You can't look away from a really good traffic accident, even though there are people hanging halfway out of the car dead. You know,
my
everyone turns
goodness.
their head slightly for a second, but then take a glimpse back to see what really happened.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. I mean I didn't even think about it like, oh my goodness. Oh, I mean
Yeah, no, I know. I wish I could say something different or other than that. I mean, those are just my observations as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've come so far as, I mean, I look at things daily, and you know, I sit in amazement and watch people cross 5 lanes to jump on 95. You know, 3 lanes or what, and I'm like, is this your first day doing this? I mean, they do it like week in and week out, and I'm like, okay, so maybe we're not evolved. Maybe Darwin didn't get this 100% right, or maybe we're just stuck. And you know, I don't know what to say other than that. I mean, I understand where you're at with the kids that are being filmed that are disabled, and I think it's like morally wrong on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
But you know, everything comes down to monetizing, and you know, so then you spin it the other way. What are you, a bad capitalist? You know, and you're not taking every opportunity to make money on something, and we need money to pay the bills, to pay for the kids that are, you know, exceptionally needy of extra services and care. And this, I'm doing it. You know, it's a real gray area.
Yeah.
When somebody starts dissecting everything, or when you get lawyers involved and they start dissecting things.
That's when it really gets shaky.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just saying, I mean, you know, those are, you know.
It all depends upon what your definition of is.
Is, exactly. Right? I mean, to quote the great Bill Clinton on that.
Yes. I can't help myself. Yes.
No, I hear you. I mean, that was epic. But I mean, you know, what a perfect example of lawyering up at the most opportune moment. And go, okay, we can parse words all day.
Right.
So, you know, I look at these things on a very long view, and I mean, no, not for nothing. Look at it and see where you fit in the equation of the car accident scenario, or basis of death, or cops, or lockdown, or, you know, any of these things that you would have possibly come across.
Right. So if you avoid that kind of programming, or, you know, you are more inclined to find yourself assisting during an accident as opposed to just watching it.
Yeah.
So you can choose what your participation is, you know.
Yeah. Correct. All right, then. Well, thank you. I really
You're
appreciate
welcome. You all
that.
have a good one.
All
Yes,
right,
you
thanks.
too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Yep. Well, I guess that solved it. I mean, wow. But I guess it is true. And then going back to my friend really quick. So she calls me, she's like, should I call 911? Should I call 911? And she was just very distraught. And I was like, yes, like now, like hang up now, call her, like call 911 now, because number one, you don't want to live with that regret. And number two, you know, and she's talking to me, she's telling me like, you know, she heard this thing how like a lot of people just think other people called 911, and then in reality nobody ever did.
Right.
And you know, and it creates this like loop and cycle of like not taking action. So I was like,
But
just
it's
do
curious, if she thinks she should be calling 911, why is she calling
you. Yeah. I know, maybe because I was the one reason when she was driving on 95 and she's like panicking and freaking out.
Okay.
So, but I did tell her, and she did. And when I saw her at school, and she was like, "Thank you so much." As somebody else already called, but and I was like, "Yeah, but you know, at least you know that. You know, you didn't want to come to school and been like, oh."
And so next time, tell her, don't call me. Call 911.
Yeah. I'll leave you with that while we go to break.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
hardwood floors are one of the most popular premium flooring choices. They come in a variety of beautiful colors, surface
All right, we are back. Thanks for sticking with us.
Yep. Yes, we are back. But you
Mhm.
know, lovely introduction with the patriotic music. I think it's a perfect transition for my next topic, in which do you think music can control a mass group of people?
Yeah. I mean, you're wearing ACDC.
I do not listen to rock music. I don't even know what this shirt means. It's actually my sister's,
Oh, it's a
and she
band.
got it from Forever 21.
I was going to be like, bruh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know
Example of
I
that.
know it's some type of band, but like
It's a
yeah.
rock band.
Mm-hmm. And so like like how can it control a mass group of people?
Church.
You said yes. Mm-hmm.
You have organs, then you have choir, all
Mhm,
that, and then
mhm.
that's kind of like a reputation of God, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, kind
But
of like
but
that.
but how does that control the people?
Emotions.
There you go. I'm trying to get you there, John. I'm pushing you in the right direction.
Pretty
Right?
self-explanatory.
I like to lay
Fill
things
in the
out
blanks,
because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
gonna get a lot
See,
worse
she's
from here.
practicing her lawyer stuff. That's
Oh,
what
Yes.
lawyers do. It's called leading the witness, by the way,
Really?
counselor. Yes.
Or legal gaslighting,
Yes,
as they've also said it.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, emotions are the key to controlling, using music to
Mhm.
control a mass group of people. So, we just had this very enlightening conversation about death, human sadism, and where we fall on the spectrum of taking action and not, and just
Mhm.
being a bystander.
Mhm.
So, let's talk about Astro World. Do any of you guys know what Astro World
Yes,
is?
that was in the news. 8 people were killed. It was a Travis Scott concert.
Yes,
And
there
he
you
was
go.
he was still on stage. I believe some people said he saw
Mhm.
somebody fainted and he didn't stop.
Mm-hmm. Good job. Because that's exactly what we're talking about next. So Travis Scott is a professional rapper, and he's literally known for having very violent and aggressive concerts. He literally tells his fans to
Right.
invoke the feeling of rage, to be violent. He like influences them, and I'm not like, this is not
Right.
implied. You know,
Right.
like when you watch videos on the internet, he's telling them to like storm the stage, beat people up, have a riot, and he's literally pled guilty to like ensuing I think it's like
Ensuing a
ensuing
riot?
a riot. Yeah,
Mm.
things like that.
Right.
So it's like
There's
he
about
is
30 some odd cases already filed against him.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah.
All I know is that I think it was like in 2017 he pled guilty to something multiple times, along the lines of the riots and whatnot. So Astro World was this musical festival where 8 people did die. Well, is what they're saying right now.
Mm.
And that's what we're gonna get into. So this was held on the 6th, and officials estimated that there was about 50,000 people who were attending this. And what happened was there's a crowd surge, I think,
Right.
where like too many people in one place, and then they were being suffocated, they were being trampled.
Yeah.
They could not move, they couldn't breathe, and this was insane. And I'm like we said, I was on TikTok. So out of nowhere,
What can go wrong?
right? Out of nowhere, I keep seeing all these videos of Astro World pop up, because there's one thing that came out from all this digital media, like live streaming, all this stuff, is that people who were there recorded what happened. And what happened was insane. There were medics there who were trying to get into the crowd in order to help people who had passed out.
Right.
There was fans jumping on top of the cars
Yep.
and like dancing and stopping, and it's like a huge crowd of people. So it's not like they can
Right.
even just like run them over, for the
Right.
for the sake of the good, like
Right.
the greater good. No, it's like hundreds of these people. They're banging against the car, they're dancing, they're being violent, and it's just like, oh my goodness. And there was these two young adults, and they were climbing up the side of the stage, and they walked up to the cameraman. They're like, he is dead, he's dead, he died. No, and they're talking about like the people that they saw who had passed out, they're not breathing, they're not okay. And the cameramen are just like, they're not responding, just ignoring them, and they're like screaming, they're calling for help. And this was so bad to the point where people in this crowd started like calling. They're like, hey, stop the show, stop the show. I think there was even one video where this girl, and you can just hear like her crying. Like you don't see her in the video, but she's somewhere in the crowd, and she's going, help me, help me. And it's just Travis on the stage just singing. And it's like, what is going on? So very insane, very wild, very unsafe. I'm so grateful that TikTok and people are coming out with their stories and they're talking about it, because I do have to be honest, on all the articles I've read, it's very vague information, and it's it's,
Well, yeah.
and I mean, I feel like I can understand, because there's going to be probably a lot of lawsuits that are
There's
going to
a
be
lot
filed.
of information they have to sort through.
Yep,
and
and whatnot.
Yep.
But I mean, it was very horrific to see, and thank goodness nobody I knew was there, because actually later on in this segment we're going to talk about my friends who are absolutely obsessed with Travis Scott. And are we going to break?
We're our last
we
break.
are. All right. So stay tuned for that.
And we'll be right back, so stick with us.
are back, and to wrap things up, I'm going to finish out really quickly. So we were talking about on our break how people were body surfing a girl who passed out. The medics there, they were not even CPR like certified. They the metal barricades that they had were really preventing people from being safe, and they were basically entrapped within like this huge crowd of people that were just being trampled, suffocated, etc., etc. And so what all of this led down to, this huge tragedy, what happened is that on TikTok, which is the main character of our segment today, I guess, what happened is that a lot of these people afterwards who were at the concert basically said that that Astro World was a demonic sacrifice or a ritual, and they even said that they were extending it as far as it being like child sacrifice, since children were allowed to attend, given that I think the youngest person who died from this tragic event was 14 years old. Yeah, very, very tough. And so their reasoning, like their evidence for this is the fact that first off, Travis was wearing a shirt that had blue people, and they were walking through this door, and then out of the door they came out as these red figures with like devil horns on, which is like, okay. But then when you walk into like where the venue was, the stage was on fire, right? And there's like there's four
on
of
each
these
side of the stage.
4 fire poles. I don't know what they are. Like there's flame shooting out from
Fire stacks,
fire stacks, I guess, from 4, like it's 4 on each side of the stage, which is 8. And guess how many were reported dead? 8. Interesting, right? Or well, there could have obviously been more, but that's just what they're reporting for right now. And most importantly, on part of the fire stacks, I guess, there was a dove on top that was being burned. And so I tried to look up what like the symbol of the burning dove means. A lot of this stuff wasn't very accurate. It just wasn't reliable. But what most people were drawing conclusions to is that the white dove is often a symbol of like purity, or it represents
peace.
Peace. It represents the Holy Spirit, if you want to take it from the Christian point of view. And it being burned, just and combined with the sinister tones of Travis Scott's music, was just it was not okay. And and that's why I basically asked if music can control a mass group of people, because I actually talked with my fellow classmates who listen to rap, because I don't listen to any music like this. I just listen to sad music or classical music, is one or the other. And they were like, this was definitely some sort of sacrifice, not okay, and his music is definitely not normal. It definitely invokes some sinister vibes, and it's because of this. And just to get really nitty gritty, my IB classes have been like paying off. I am in IB music theory, so the chords and often the auto tune, when it comes down to, it's very dissonant, which means that they clash. And on top of what the electronic sounds, it doesn't sound normal. It's like produced, I guess you can say. It all that combined is just yikes.
Everything seems disconnected.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the interesting part is that my friends, they were like, I would still go. I would still have fun. I would still, be baller, I guess they were saying. So I was like, okay, have fun throwing your life away now knowing that knowledge.
Right.
But I digress. Whether or not you think this is real, the theories are real. I know the internet, TikTok has been taking down videos talking about these conspiracy theories, whether it's real or not.
I mean, one of the theories that was being floated around is somebody was going around randomly and jabbing people in the neck with a needle.
Yes, I
that.
saw that.
Yeah.
And we're going to
again,
talk about that really quick.
That's just a theory. There's no evidence.
And not at all. And a lot of people were like, it doesn't make sense given how compacted it was.
Right.
But they said that was what basically started the initial like panic and
the surging.
Yeah. But and the internet's doing its best to kind of shut down any misinformation.
Correct.
Since it's also a little bit harmful because of the people who lost their lives and the trauma. And I saw this TikTok. I know it's so bad, but I think the person who created the video, it was a woman, and she made a really good point in how there's this just desensitization of death how we've
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
it's just normalized now, I guess,
Right.
especially within our generation, since the people who did attend this event were younger, like
Mhm.
14 to 20 years old, 20ish, 25, I guess, would
Mhm.
be like the proper cutoff, I think. And basically it's just like, whoever planned the concert, the businesses involved, the individuals who gave into the chaos, went on it, dancing on top of the police, the EMS cars, the medic cars, stopping people from actually being able to do their jobs. And even Travis Scott himself, because there's videos of him and people are like, he's watching people die and he
Mm.
did not stop. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what people are saying. Like, whether or not it was even demonic or some type of sacrifice or ritual, I just think it shows that within like fame, money, music,
Yeah.
you know.
So the thing is, if you ever been on a stage before with a lot of lights,
Mhm.
okay, sometimes you look like you're looking into the
Oh,
crowd,
yeah.
but you really
Yeah,
cannot
you really
see.
cannot. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to be fair,
No, yes, of course.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
you don't know.
Right.
You really don't know.
Right.
And even I just think that, within this whole entire world of just this fame, this rapping and this music and using demonic symbols and fire and this and that, um at the end of the day, you can only really protect yourself. A lot of people look towards Travis, and a lot of people are putting a lot of blame on him since he's
Mhm.
kind of like the figurehead of it, which
Right.
I
He's the
understand.
focus of
But
it.
a lot
Mhm.
of them were like, he should have saved us. He should have like helped us. Like, why was he?
Well,
And
there should be staff involved to come up to him,
yeah,
and
yeah,
people,
tell him.
promoters, and those the people that are involved in putting on whatever the production is.
Hmm.
They have a obligation
Hmm.
for safety of all the attendees.
Yeah.
Right.
But in this case, that didn't happen. And
Mhm.
like I said earlier, like there was two individuals who tried to make it happen,
Mhm.
didn't work. So at the end of the day, you really have yourself, and you have to be safe. Do the best you can, because a lot of these people, they just care that you gave them your money.
Right.
And that's about it. They don't really care about you or consider the aftermath of the events like this, because even then a lot of people are making fun of Travis Scott's apology and the fact that I think he's dating Kylie. Do you know that? I don't know.
Keep up with any of that.
No, you're good. Well, somebody, I think Kylie was there. A lot of these other celebrities were there, and they got out safely. But the fact that just these regular people who went there to have fun lost their lives, it says a lot. So it's traumatizing. No one goes to events like this to die. They go to have fun, let loose. And most people at these concerts as well have one rule, and is if somebody falls down, if they pass out, you pick them up, you stand by one another, you
Mhm.
help them.
Mhm.
And there was a lot of that, but there also wasn't. So in the end, I just hope everybody there recovers and speaks out. I hope.
50,000 people attended, you said?
Yes.
Wow.
Right?
Huge.
That's also why I think there was a lot more deaths.
Hmm.
But it's good. Hope they speak out. I hope the people involved, get a
Mhm.
wrap on this. I hope the people who did not do their job
People have to be
get
held to account.
accountable. Yep,
Mhm.
exactly. So I just wanted to spread some awareness since
Mhm.
today's show. I guess it was pretty funny foreshadowing
Mhm.
how we go from the live streams and our human sadism and our darker parts of ourselves to then this, and how that's another reflection of it. It just manifested in a different way.
Mhm.
So very scary. Just wanted to spread some awareness. I hope everybody stays safe.
You going to be going to the air show this weekend?
No,
No, why not?
I'm actually seeing our school's play on Friday.
Okay.
Buy tickets. It's all together now. My friend, one of my good friends,
Mhm.
actually, is directing it and coordinating it.
Okay.
So
And that'll
yeah.
be right at South Fork?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna see at 7:30 Friday. So yeah.
Nice.
But
And what's the name of the play?
all together now.
All Together. Now.
All I guess it's in light of the pandemic and coming out of it, and how people are starting to rehabilitate into society and whatnot. So I think it's like a comedy kind of,
Okay.
and a lot of my friends are in it, so it's really good.
Who wrote it?
My friend,
Okay.
Her name Sophia
so
Liano. She's
okay.
very amazing,
Okay.
and she's been, working really hard. A lot of stress
Mhm.
too. My friends are like, I regret. They were like, it's so much work, and they kind of regret doing it, but they understand that they are the talented individuals of our
Right.
society
Yeah.
that get to, put on nice
Well,
shows for
yeah,
us,
and make a message.
right? And
Right.
build community.
Mhm.
So that's really all I have for today. Everybody stay safe. John, any concluding thoughts you want to give real quick?
Oh, stay safe and have a nice Veterans Day.
Yeah, and maybe rethink going to Travis Scott's concerts if you're into that. And that's all. Happy Veterans Day.
All right.
See you on the flip side.